Ladies and gentlemen, gamers of all ages, welcome to Tric Trac TV. My name's Jamie, and today we're going to be talking about Meeple Wars. And to do so, I'm joined by the lovely Camille, somebody who worked on this game. Thank you for coming in.
Sorry.
It's all right. She is French, so give her a bit of time, but she's an English teacher, so she's very good at this, trust me.
No, you shouldn't say that. Stop, don't mention that.
Now, Meeple Wars is by Blue Cocker. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, 10 years and up, and it's about 30 to 60 minutes long, depending on the number of players. It's I want to say like a sort of light Euro game / war game. The idea being that you have your little town, which you're going to construct, build these robots. Well, they're giant robots in the world we're in, but this is kind of the Meeples, that's the one. But it's kind of set in the world of Gulliver's Travels sort of thing. So everybody's very, very small. So the robots are very small for our standards, but they're very, very big by the inhabitant standards. So the idea is to smash face, gain victory points, and the first person to get to 6 victory points wins the game. Now, it's very fast, it's very fluid, it has some really good ideas, which we're going to go through, of course, and we'll jump right into it, I think. So, the idea is as such. This is the battleground. Now, the game is for 2 to 4. This is the 3-player setup. There is also, in fact, if you will pass me the rulebook, I will very quickly show the camera the 2 and 4-player rulebook, because they have done a brilliant job of, there we go, so that's the 4-player setup. And that is the 2-player setup. So they've done a really, really good job of balancing it for all numbers of players. Sorry, I'll give you that back now. Each player will have a town. You start with a town centre, but after that you can build any buildings you want. Each building has different effects, which you're going to run us through very shortly, I believe. You'll be producing, therefore, these little meeples, which you have to produce and then deploy. Each player has a different sort of meeple, different colour, etc., so it's easy to distinguish them. You can explore the battlefield with these different terrain tiles, which we'll get into eventually as well. And through either, smashing face, destroying other people's meeples, or attacking their towns, destroying their buildings, or through holding these special zones towers, which gives you temporary victory points, so you have to take them and hold them, you win the game. So let's start at the beginning, the town. So you start with the town hall, which has one of 3 different effects. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you can either build 2 meeples,
yes,
arm 2 meeples, bearing in mind you have to build them first, so you take this little tile here, and if you build them, so the town hall allows you to build 2, you place 2 meeples on this tile. Yep. However, they are built, but they are not armed or activated, however you want to put it. You have to use one of these actions to arm them, to activate them, at which point they leave your town, and that's when the fun begins. Exactly. The third action is to build another building. So run us through the different buildings that we can have.
Okay, so first you have this one, which is the pilot school.
Okay.
So easy enough. Well, I shouldn't have begun with that, but sorry. You can arm up to 8 meeples, so 4 meeples or 8 meeples.
Exactly. So these little squares here, when you build the building, in fact, hold on, we'll start at the beginning.
Oh, well.
When you want to build a building, you flip it over. It starts on this side. Now, first of all, your opponent won't know what you're building. The only exception is the town hall, which has a special back. A special back, how I say that. It has trees on it. So your opponent can tell if you're building a town hall or rather rebuilding your town hall, because you always start with one. These little squares, each turn, the white cube you place on the squares will move 1 forward. And when you get to a square with an effect in it, you execute that effect. So this will take 2 turns to build. So you go 1, 2. That means you flip it over, and then the building is ready to use the turn afterwards. So you put the white cube on, and then you're off. So you can either very quickly arm a few meeples, or if you wait an extra turn, arm a lot of meeples.
Yes, exactly.
Now there is, some of you will be asking, well, hold on, it's better just to arm 4 every turn instead of waiting an extra turn to arm 8. The only problem is,
you need to have them in the depot first.
You do have to have them in the depot first, but also you have a certain time between when you can activate the building. As soon as you've used the power, the building goes inactive for 1 turn, and then you start up again. So it creates a tempo in the game, and it's one of the most important rules which you'll see as we move along that's very important to keep in mind. So, moving on with the buildings.
So this is the one I should have started with.
Okay.
The one which allows you to build meeples.
Exactly the same principle. You can build a couple of meeples or a lot of meeples if you give it a bit more time. Simple as.
So I've done these ones. With this one, so it's the Spook's Brotherhood. You can either reinforce your troops, so if you already have meeples on the board, you can add extra meeples according to the number which is here.
But it has to be on a hexagon where you already have these meeples.
Yep. And you can, with this action, build 4 extra meeples.
Simply put.
With this one, which is interesting, it's the university. So with this one, you can, well, build 2 meeples. Or with this action, you can, this one, the hourglass. You can move your workers forward 1 extra square. So you basically gain time.
Yeah. Double time.
Double time. And this one, the parchment. Yes, you can choose one of the extra bonuses which are assigned, so these ones.
Yes, these are, you have a couple of little tokens here, which are these.
Just choose one of them.
So you choose one and then you take it, and then it gives you a little bonus to, you can build an extra meeple, you get an extra power when you attack, you can defend a meeple, you can move through a forest, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Oh, dropped one, that doesn't help.
Anyway, now we have,
It's all right.
So this is reinforcement as well. So you need more time, but you can reinforce troops very severely. You can add 7 extra meeples on the board where you have meeples. Oh, here you can add 3. I'm wondering, maybe I made a mistake earlier because it seems to be the same effect. Sorry.
No, okay.
The other one was moving.
You push enemy
them,
troops
sorry.
away. That's the one. This allows you to reinforce.
Yes,
the other one pushes enemy troops away. That's
this one pushes the enemy away.
When it's red, it allows you to take enemy meeples that are somewhere on the board and push them to where you want. That's the one, which is always useful.
Okay. Then you have the abbey. So with the abbey, you can build an extra building, arm 2 meeples, or convert one of your meeples. The idea is that somehow, at some point during the game, the opponent might want to destroy one of your buildings. So destroying them requires to have 2 opponent meeples on these squares. And you are not allowed to place one of your meeples on your own building, except if you use this action. So it allows you to take away one of the opponent's meeples and put one of yours instead.
It allows you to replace it with yours, so it doesn't technically count.
That's it.
Okay.
The other actions we've seen, this one we haven't. So the catapults. So you can, with this action, destroy all of the opponent meeples on one same time, or you can try to destroy one of the opponent's buildings. So by placing one of your meeples on their defense
on any one
area,
of their buildings,
like this.
Always useful.
You choose from them, yes. And last effect we haven't explained, I guess, is the recycling one. It allows you, when a battle occurs, normally you should lose your meeples, and there you just put them back in your depot instead of losing them.
So you don't have to build them again.
Yeah.
Or you can build 2 and arm 2.
You can build 2 and arm 2, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay,
so there's quite a few buildings in the game with quite a few different effects, but it is kind of the beauty that you can build your little, you can only have 4 in your city, as it were. So you can build your own little town with strategies. You can build over buildings, so if you need to change mid-game, you can. It's generally a bit of a break in tempo because you have to wait for it to actually be constructed. But if you're getting siege down, if a lot of them enemies are attacking your buildings, then an abbey is always a good call because, well, you can stop them. There's loads of different strategic options depending on how you want to proceed in the game. So that is the principle of the actual little hometown, as it were, and the tempo, as I like to call it with this game, of moving that white square along. It's one of the biggest mechanics in the game, and it's a bit frustrating from time to time because you can't control it unless, of course, you are using the university, which allows you to move forward one. You have to move forward. You don't have a choice. So that effect is going to come around whether you want it to or not. So you have to be ready for it, which can be very frustrating when you know you're 1 turn off getting a maximum amount of use out of it. It can be very aggravating. But hey, it's a game, and it does make it very strategic and very interesting in that sense. So how does a turn work out? Well, first of all, you move the cubes along and you resolve any effect. So
Before you have to count any bonus points which might occur.
Of course.
You count the bonus points before.
So that would be the bonus victory points.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now,
then you move the workers.
Let's quickly set up here. Set up these. Okay, so how does a turn roll out? Once you've done everything you want to do in your town, you've taken care of all the effects it generates, etc., you move on to your to your activations, as it were. Each meeple can activate once and move, and then it will automatically attack any other meeples it gets into in combat. If you move, because even though there is only a couple of hexagons here, you can actually explore the rest of the map, as we mentioned earlier, and there's a lot to explore. When you explore a map, you draw one of these tiles, and you place it down wherever you want to go. So if you say, okay, this guy here is going to go to this hexagon here, then you draw a tile, you flip it up. Oh, that's a good thing, actually. It's a little bonus tile, so we can explain them as well. When you move on to the hexagon, you draw one, you flip it, and if there's an effect, you resolve it. This one here, when you control it at the beginning of your turn, you produce an extra meeple for free. Always good. This guy, for example, could say, I'm going to go explore here. You draw a tile, you flip it up, and another meeple effect. Now, this is doubly interesting. This is a sacrifice altar. When you put a meeple onto the sacrifice altar, you have to kill it, your own meeple. However, you can then kill another meeple adjacent to that tile.
Within 2 space range.
Within 2 spaces of that tile. So I could kill this dude here, but I'm not because I need him for my combat example. Around explored tiles, you also have forests. So there's a blank tile with forest, perfect. You can't move through forests unless you have a special effect that says you can, which is one of these little tokens here. So between exploring the forest, also when you explore the zone, you decide how the tile is placed. So you can use forest to block off your town or make enemy towns more accessible, that sort of thing. And then you build out the board as you go, exploring more and more. The only thing you can't do is move behind the line that is made by the 3 towns. So you couldn't explore there, for example. So, and then you start to get a more, how can I put it, fluffed out battlefield. Now, of course, your opponent's going to do the same thing. He's going to explore, he's going to put meeples onto the board. When you enter into a space with enemy meeples, it's a very simple system. They kill each other 1 for 1. So if I was to put 2 meeples into a zone, these 2 would kill each other, so that would go back to his zone, and this would go back to mine, and this guy would stay alive. Now, you have a courage track, or is it a bravery track? Bravery track. Every time you kill an enemy meeple through any effect, whether it's the catapult, whether it's combat, whether it's sacrifice, whatever, you move up 1 on this bravery track. When you get to 7, you get one of these famous victory points, which is represented by this triangular tile here. Now, each space is one of the victory points, which you have to fill up these spaces. You fill them up with your meeples. So as you go along, as you get more victory points, you actually have less troops to play with, so to speak. So you have to manage it better. It becomes slightly less tricky, especially if your opponents are lagging behind a little bit. They will automatically have a lot more, well, up to 5 more troops on the board than you do. So it can make quite a difference. That is the first way to earn victory points. The second way is to control these towers. Now, there's always one in the center of the board. Generally, it's worth 2 unless you're playing with 4 players. There's 2 of them worth 1. To control a tower, you have to have 2 meeples on it. Of course, you have to be the only player, but if there's enemy meeples on there, you automatically enter into combat and destroy them, or they destroy you, whatever, when you move onto the zone. That gives you temporary points. You don't fill up your track with temporary points. However, if you lose that, you're destroyed or you move away, you lose those points. So it's, what can I say? I've played more than a few games of this, whereas that has been the last victory points you've had to earn. But generally, it's quite hard to hold them sort of things immediately at the beginning of the game, because everybody will want them. You also have other ones you can draw here from the draw pile. Same rules, these ones only give you 1, but it's exactly the same principle. The second way you can earn victory points, as you were saying earlier, is by sieging enemy buildings. Now, each building has these squares on the side, exactly like the victory track. When you move from a zone to an enemy building, you place that meeple in one of these zones. Once all the zones are filled up with meeples, whether they be your meeples or one opponent's meeples, multiple opponents can siege the same building, of course. The building is destroyed, and each player gains a victory point per meeple they had on that building. So it's big points. Yeah. If you destroy a town hall all on your own, you win the game automatically. It will happen very rarely. very, very rarely, but it makes for massive amounts of points. So that's the second way, and of course you would therefore push more meeples onto your little score track. Up, there we go. If, for example, let's just say, rather fictionally, up, tap, tap. Let's say he had one here with the conversion, just as an example, and I had 2. Once this building was destroyed, I would gain 3, you would gain 2. I don't actually do you gain...
He doesn't win
he doesn't
anything,
gain points from his own building being destroyed, but he stops us from getting them, simply put. Okay, so as a little example, and then and that's the third one. So those are the simple rules you need. Once you gain 6 victory points, it's game over. You count up the scores for second and third place, of course, and that's about it. I'm searching for more things to say, but the beauty of this game is...
Maybe we're not precise enough about the bravery scale. So as you said, whenever you kill an opponent, you go up the scale. But when you defend, you go up for 2 enemies beaten. So it's more slow, but you still go up. And whenever you reach the 7, you gain 1 victory point on your reputation mountain.
So you can continually generate the points from that. But it's very good that you mentioned that. I totally forgot that rule. It's one of the things that pushes you to be aggressive with your meeples in this game, because if you attack, as you were saying, for each meeple you destroy, you gain 1 point. If you're the defending player, however, it's every 2 meeples you destroy that you gain 1 point. So it is better to be aggressive in this game. But that's the thing, as I was saying earlier, it's a very simple game. The principles are very simple. The rules are very simple. It's aggressive. It's one of the reasons I sort of called it like a hybrid war game, Euro game. It's got that management. It's got that kind of tempo system with the way the cubes move along. You have to act whether you want to or not. You have to be aggressive. You have to go with the flow, so to speak. I had a lot of fun with this one. I know you've been playing it a little bit as well.
It's one of the games I can understand.
Well, that's the thing. It is nice and complex. It's got a lot of depth, but it's not a hard game to understand. There you go. Which we will show you, because we're going to come back in a while to do a quick demo game with it, with us 2 and probably Guillaume, because we set up for 3, so we'll need a 3rd player, so we'll probably rodeo him in. Thank you very much for helping us explain the game.
You're very welcome.
Thank you guys for watching, and be sure to check out the next video where we'll show you what the game looks like when it's being played. Take care. Till next time. Ciao.
Bye.